Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. In case you guys have trouble listening to me or looking into my screen through the webinar, do get in touch with the panelists. They should be able to help you quickly without any further delay. Let me quickly deep dive into the topic for today's webinar. It's 360 ITSM. It's obvious that I'm going to talk about ServiceDesk Plus and its integrations with other ManageEngine solutions. For those who are new to ServiceDesk, the next couple of slides is going to be an eye-opener as to why ServiceDesk Plus has to be used. And for the larger audience who are familiar with ServiceDesk Plus, the next couple of slides are going to be a recap of what you already know. ServiceDesk Plus is an ITL-ready help desk and asset management solution, which brings in the best practices for ITSM workflows. So here we have quite a number of ITL functions like incident management, problem management, change management, project management, CMDB, and much more. ServiceDesk Plus has got powerful integrations with other IT functions. Most of these functions are provided by ManageEngine solutions, and that is the reason why we chose this as a topic for today's webinar. It has got plenty of automation options. A couple of automation things that come to my mind here is technicians can be auto-assigned to tickets. So you don't need a coordinator, a help desk coordinator to sit and assign tickets to your technician. So there's a technician auto-assign feature, which either uses round robin or load balancing technique. There's also SLA auto-escalation. So once a technician has violated the SLA on the response time and resolution time, it can automatically be escalated to the next level. And this is actually going to be entirely automatic in the sense you are going to predefine who the technician should be when it is getting escalated. So once you have defined this in the configuration, if technician A has violated his resolution time, it will automatically be assigned to technician B. Another example that comes to my mind here is if you have to look at continual service improvement, customer satisfaction survey is one of the options. So as and when a ticket is closed by a technician, a survey can be sent to the users to monitor your quality of service. And it has got extensive reporting capabilities. We are going to touch upon the business intelligence dashboards and reporting today, which gives you deep insights into how your IT is performing. And it also gives you answers to unanswered questions in IT. And for the people who are familiar with ServiceDesk Plus, they quite know that there are a lot of customizations possible, and these customizations do not require any knowledge of coding language. It could be CSS, it could be JavaScripts, it could be Java. So you don't need to know any of these coding languages. And all the forms that you see in ServiceDesk Plus is just a drag and drop functionality. The biggest advantage of ServiceDesk Plus is that it can be deployed on cloud or on premise. So there is every possibility that we can take up your data to the cloud on a case-by-case basis. So if you're already on premise and you are willing to move to on cloud, we can definitely think of transferring your data on an case-by-case basis. So the next slide gives you the three different editions of ServiceDesk. So we have standard, professional, and enterprise. The enterprise edition has got all the ITL features like incident, problem, change, release, project, service catalog, asset management, and CMDB. Whereas the professional edition is a cut-down version of the enterprise, and standard is a cut-down version of the professional. Standard has got only the help desk and knowledge management, whereas the professional has got help desk, knowledge, and asset management. So the reason why I had to put this slide here is in case if one of you are on the standard or professional edition and you're willing to move to the enterprise, you don't have to worry about the data. The data is going to be intact. all that you have to do is to contact the sales team and get a license so that your existing edition of standard or professional can be moved to the enterprise by just a click. Now, let's get into the topic. ServiceDesk Plus is the IT command center. It's the control center for all your IT operations. So it has got integrations with Windows Active Directory management, where you can do user provisioning, automate workflows in Active Directory, and also help to clean up your Active Directory accounts. It integrates with end-user password reset software, which is AD self-service, which will allow users to reset their own passwords and unlock their accounts. Any alarm which is generated in your data center monitoring software like ADManager, if you already are ADManager customers, then you would actually know that an alarm which is generated in ADManager can be raised as a ticket into ServiceDesk. So it could be with any of your operation infrastructure like routers, switches, firewalls, or servers, and application infrastructure like applications and databases. So the biggest of the integration is with desktop, because for an help desk, everything revolves around desktops and laptops and mobile devices. So ServiceDesk Plus goes hand in hand with desktop management and mobile device management. So all actions that you do on Desktop Central will be driven from ServiceDesk Plus itself. So Desktop Central is a software which provides you all the desktop management functions. So what kind of functions is what you're going to see in the next couple of slides. And we also have integration with advanced analytics, where it gives you the business intelligence dashboards and reports. Thereby, it helps you make some wise decisions on the data that you have on hand. So let's first start with the Desktop Central integration. So what can Desktop Central do for you? It can first and foremost patch your operating system and applications. So we have support for 750 plus applications, including Microsoft and Adobe and Google Chrome and much more. So there's an automated way of deploying patches. So once the patches are downloaded from the vendor website through ManageEngine repository, you can test these patches on a group of workstations, allow them to run for n number of days, and once this number of days is completed, it can automatically be pushed to all other workstations and laptops within the organization. So there's an automated patch deployment task which will help you push the patches from Microsoft or from third-party applications to all other devices. And you can install or uninstall softwares. You can also build images, operating system images, and then deploy them to workstations. You can remotely control the workstations and laptops. The biggest advantage with this remote control is that it's a web-based remote control, and it ensures user privacy. So upon user confirmation, the session will be initiated, and technicians can share files. One or more technicians can join the session for learning purposes. And above all, the session that is being initiated is going to be recorded for audit purposes. USB device management is the first step towards data leakage prevention. So you can allow or block certain devices and check the data that is being transferred from your workstations or laptops to the storage devices. So you can do the monitoring on all the USB devices which are connected to the workstations and laptops. Above all, you can perform a host of configurations over and above the GPO configurations. Say, for example, you want to configure the firewall or push a logon script, or you want to change the registry settings or environmental variables, or you want to configure a proxy, manage the extensions and plugins on browsers like Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, Firefox, or Chrome. You can do them through configurations, or you can even push proxy configuration. You can push a network printer configuration to all devices using the configuration section. So the diagram below gives you an idea as to how the integration is going to work. So Desktop Central is an agent-based model where you will deploy agent on all your workstations and laptops, and it is going to send data to the central server. The central server will be synchronizing with ServiceDesk Plus server. So there's going to be a two-way communication. All data that you have in Desktop Central will be pushed to ServiceDesk Plus. So which means that you don't have to scan the devices again in ServiceDesk Plus. So what are the biggest advantages that you get with this kind of service desk and desktop management integration? First and foremost, you can update the asset data. As I said, all the data that is being captured by Desktop Central will automatically be pushed to Service Desk. So you have one stop shop console for all your asset information. You can generate tickets automatically into Service Desk from Desktop Central. So which means that if there is any prohibited software which has been installed by an user and you want to uninstall them automatically, but you want to still keep track of who did what and when, that's when a ticket can automatically be raised into Service Desk. You can deploy software applications. It could be MSI or EXE applications. You can initiate a chat session, and this chat session can be, the chat transcript can be converted into tickets. You can log specific events. You don't want to log all that is being reported on Desktop Central as tickets into Service Desk. So you can choose what kind of tickets have to be generated into Service Desk. You can remotely control desktops. As I told you in the previous slide, it's a web-based remote control, and the remote control is going to be recorded for audit and learning purposes. And you can also deploy configurations like configuring firewall, proxy, or printer, and much more. So that being said, Desktop Central is available in 4 different editions, which is the UM edition, which is the biggest edition of all. It has got all the features of the Enterprise Edition, plus mobile device management, which I'm going to talk in the next slide. Mobile device management, modern management for Windows 10 devices, and OS deployment, whereas the Enterprise Edition has got self-service portal, WAN bandwidth optimization, prohibited software, software metering, license management, USB device management, and mobile device and OS deployment are available as add-ons. The Professional Edition is a cut-down version of Enterprise, and there's also a free edition which allows you to check all these features across 25 computers and 25 mobile devices for free. So, so the free edition gives you all the patch, software deployment, asset management, configurations, system tools, and remote control. So the major features that you are thinking for is available in the free edition as well. So now when we have to talk about mobile devices, mobile device management is offered through Mobile Device Manager Plus, which helps you manage all the Android phones, Windows phones, and iOS phones. So you can keep track of their IMEI number, SIM card information. You can keep track of the data usage on mobile devices and much more. You can configure profiles for usage on these mobile devices. So which means that you can have a common passcode, or you can push a passcode, you can push VPN configuration settings or email settings, or you can even push the websites which are allowed within the corporate network from these mobile devices. And you can manage the apps which go into these mobile devices. The apps could be enterprise apps, and you want to keep track of all the blacklisted apps, and you want to uninstall them as and when mobile devices getting connected to the corporate network. So all these enterprise apps that you can think of, for example, Zoho provides mobile devices to all its employees and forcefully installs the enterprise apps like Zoho Mail, Zoho Click. Click is a chat software, and we also have OneAuth, which is the identity access management solution for all the Zoho employees. So all these are getting pushed to the mobile devices, and there's no way that you can uninstall these enterprise apps. There's email management, content, and containerization possible in Mobile Device Manager Plus. You can remotely control all the Android phones too. And there's a host of security features. You can log the device, log the mobile device if you think it has been lost. You can generate an alarm so that you keep track of where it is, and you can geolocate the coordinates of the mobile device. This gives you the last geolocation coordinate of the mobile device from where it communicated to the server. You can do a corporate wipe off of all the content on the mobile devices. You can also do a complete wipe off of the content. Mobile Device Manager is available in 3 different editions. The free edition gives you 25 devices for free, and standard starts at $495, and the professional starts at $895 for 50 devices. And the biggest advantage again here is it's available on-premise and on cloud. For any questions related to the pricing and licensing, you may get in touch with the local partner, Alexa Technologies, or you may get in touch with your account manager who is dedicated for UAE region. And now let's move to talk about the network management integration of ServiceDesk Plus. The process workflow on the right-hand side of this slide gives you an idea as to how ADManager and ServiceDesk Plus talk to each other. An alarm is generated in ADManager. I will talk about the features of the ADManager in a while, but let me just quickly go through the workflow. An alarm is getting generated in ADManager, and a ticket is raised in ServiceDesk. It is getting assigned to a technician. There's a pre-configuration that you have to do for what kind of alarms, who should be the technician. So if there's a alarm from the category of routers, it should be assigned to the network administrator. If there is if there is an alarm which is generated from the category of databases or servers, it should be assigned to the server or database administrator. So you can do all these configurations in ADManager, and when the ticket is assigned, the technician works on it, assuming the alarm is automatically cleared. Say for example, the CPU utilization on a critical server is 95% at 10 a.m. And by 10:15, when the next monitoring comes up, the CPU utilization drops down to 45. So the alarm will automatically be cleared. And for the ticket which was generated at 10 o'clock, you don't have to manually go at 10:15 to close the ticket, because the alarm has already been cleared. ADManager knows the alarm has been cleared, and it sends an information to ServiceDesk Plus to close the ticket associated with that alarm. So everything is going to be automatic here. Or assuming if the technician has worked on that particular alarm and cleared it manually, then the ticket will automatically be closed. So since there's a change in status of the device, it will automatically be reflected into ServiceDesk Plus as well. So what can you do with ADManager? You can monitor the performance of network devices like routers, switches, firewalls, monitor the performance of physical and virtual infrastructure. Virtual infrastructure could be Hyper-V, ESX, or Citrix Zen servers. Most importantly, you can do the fault management. So notifications can be sent, email or SMS notifications can be sent to technicians. There's a workflow automation which will help you to proactively troubleshoot and resolve alarms and tickets all by itself. So which means that, say for example, if there is a problem with your database service, all that the technician has to do is to go and restart the service. Why would you do it manually when ADManager has this feature to automatically restart the service? So once the service is restarted and it is successful, then an email can be sent to ServiceDesk. So everything is getting documented, and every action that you do in workflow automation in ADManager can be monitored as tickets into ServiceDesk. Most importantly, with fault management, you can log a ticket with ServiceDesk Plus. That is the whole idea of the integration here. So you can use this feature to auto-assign tickets to technicians, have a predefined priority, category, and group to the tickets, and have a separate SLA for such tickets raised from ADManager. You will be able to monitor your storage devices, RAID, tape library, or fabric switches. There's also capacity forecasting in storage management. Traffic analysis helps you to find out the top talker in the network, the source, the destination, and the protocol and the application from which the maximum traffic was generated. You can monitor your layer 7 traffic and layer 4 traffic as well. Network configuration management gives you the differences between startup config and running config, helps you take a backup of these configuration files, identify the differences, and if you have to remediate, if something goes wrong or if there's an unauthorized change, you want to revert it to the older version of the backup. It is possible through network configuration management. And we also have switch port and IP address management and firewall log management as part of ADManager. Now, when we have to manage the Active Directory accounts and workflows through ServiceDesk Plus, I'm sure people who have been using ServiceDesk Plus are quite familiar with the screen which is available in the center, where under the Actions menu, you can see a lot of other links like enable users in Active Directory, unlock users in Active Directory, reset user password, delete users, or create users, or disable users in Active Directory. These options are available when you integrate ADManager Plus with ServiceDesk. So you can manage all your Active Directory actions, be it enabling users, disabling users, creating or modifying users. All these actions can be performed from ServiceDesk Plus console. So what else can you do with ADManager Plus? You can start with user provisioning. So you can create users. You can manage the passwords and the accounts for these users. You can provide access to file servers for users, and you will be able to manage Office 365 licenses and users with ADManager. There's a whole bunch of reporting on AD user or groups, user logon, NTFS file permissions, and compliance. So if you are looking for compliance reporting on GDPR, GLBA, HIPAA, PCI DSS, SOX, or ISO 27001, this is going to be one such software which will report on user logon or log off, passwords, bad passwords, and much more. Most frequently, customers have been using ADManager Plus for automating activities in and around AD. So let me give you an example here. You want to clean up your Active Directory. Today, if I'm going to ask someone to pull out a report on inactive users, yes, it is possible from Active Directory. But the bigger question is, what next? What am I going to do with these inactive user accounts? Am I going to keep them as they are? Or am I going to bring in some policies and strategies to clean up my Active Directory accounts? So here, one such policy could be disabling their mailbox after 30 days of inactivity. And after 30 days of disabling their mailbox, you can remove them from distribution lists and OUs. Then after 30 days, you can completely disable the user account. You can delete the user after 30 days. So if you have to perform all these actions, deleting the user, deleting the mailbox, then unsubscribing the user from distribution lists and OUs, disabling the computer mailbox, all this has to be done in succession and has to be done frequently on a daily basis and in an automated fashion. So one fine day, you will end up removing all the stale accounts in Active Directory and your entire Active Directory is going to be cleaned up. Apart from this example, you will be also able to set time limits for group membership and manage the Exchange mailbox and Office 365 licenses. You can delegate roles to technicians using ADManager Plus. So not all technicians in your IT will have all the privileges to do functions in Active Directory. So there's a granular OU-based delegation. So you can choose which technician does what, who gets access to change the passwords, who get access to change the mailbox. So all these granular OU-based delegation is possible. And for any changes on Active Directory, an email or SMS alert can be sent, and these alerts can also be converted into tickets. There's a whole bunch of workflow which can be executed through ADManager Plus, where you can standardize execution of Active Directory tasks, auto-assign tasks, technicians, prevent unauthorized changes in Active Directory. So ADManager Plus is available in 3 different editions: standard, professional, and free. The free edition gives you 100 domain objects for management. And ADManager Plus is part of a bigger offering, which is called AD360. So in case if you have 2 or more Active Directory solutions from ManageEngine, the best solution to move ahead is with AD360, because a license will help you enable the other components in AD360. So AD360 comprises of ADManager Plus, that is the user and group management software. Then it comprises of self-service password reset, which is AD self-service, auditing real-time changes in Active Directory, which is AD Audit Plus, file integrity through Data Security Plus, and then it has got Exchange Reporter Plus for monitoring your Exchange traffic, and it also includes the Recovery Manager Plus for backup and recovery of your Active Directory objects and Exchange mailboxes. So all 6 components put together forms AD360, and if you have 1 or more of these components, I would say go with AD360, enable the licenses of the components as and when you need them. Now, when we have to talk about the second software under the AD portfolio for integration with ServiceDesk Plus, it is going to be AD Self-Service Plus. It can help users to reset passwords and log accounts. Users can also receive notifications for password or account expiration. There's also a policy enforcer, password policy enforcer, and there's a multi-factor authentication for resetting passwords and unlocking accounts. This AD self-service can serve as a directory update or search. There's an organization chart which users can refer to, and users can also subscribe to email groups. The one identity option, the one identity feature in AD Self-Service Plus is going to help users to synchronize passwords with supported 250 plus third-party applications. There's an enterprise single sign-on which helps you manage the identity of your users across these applications. And there's also a 2-factor authentication for improved security. AD Self-Service Plus is again available in 3 different editions. The free edition helps you manage 50 domain users, whereas the standard and professional edition starts at $595 and $1195 respectively. Apart from monitoring your data center infrastructure or network infrastructure, you will be able to monitor your application and databases through Applications Manager. So any alarm which is generated in applications, your applications could be Java-based applications like Tomcat, WebLogic, WebSphere, SAP Server, SAP CCMS, databases like MySQL, MS SQL, Oracle, DB2, MongoDB, Cassandra. So all these kind of databases can be monitored through Applications Manager. And if there's any fault or any alarm which is generated in Applications Manager, can be raised as tickets. Say, for example, the database is offline, or someone is trying to execute a delete query, or the number of connections to the database from a single host is greater than 25, or the JVM usage is more than the threshold value. So all these kind of alarms can be generated as tickets into ServiceDesk. You'll be able to manage passwords, and there is a request release workflow for password and access management through ServiceDesk Plus and Password Manager Pro integration. So if you have to store all the passwords in a centralized vault and use them as and when it is necessary, allow time-based access to your technicians, and record all sessions based on the technician activity, then you'll be using Password Manager Pro. It also helps you to automatically reset passwords for critical resources, and all that actions that a technician performs is going to be recorded. Now, let's say, for example, a technician wants to gain access to a database server on one fine day for just a couple of hours. So 10 to 12 is what he needs access to the database server. So he is going to request for access through password manager, and this is going to be raised as a ticket in the service desk. It is going to be sent for approval, and once it is approved, the permission will be granted for the technician to access the resource. So assuming between 10 to 12, there's 15-minute period of inactivity by the technician. In such cases, the session will automatically be terminated. Or by 12 o'clock, the session will automatically be terminated, and the account and password which was used for this connection can also be reset. So you add a layer of security after every access which is being granted to your technicians. So which means you're going to audit all actions and ensure nothing is left unturned in regards to security of your critical resources. Finally, we have all data on the table. We have data from help desk, where we have to know the number of SLA violations. We have to know the number of high priority tickets against a particular category of requests, or we want to know the technician KPIs, the technician with the highest first call resolution, or the technician with the most number of SLA violations. All this has to be generated as reports, apart from having a single dashboard for number of users who have logged into the domain today, number of users created, number of users for whom the password is going to expire in the next 30 days, or reports on the number of critical patches which are missing on operating systems, on workstations and laptops, and how are they going to be deployed, and how much deployment is yet to be completed, and what is the status of existing patch deployment, or if you have to keep track of software installations or uninstallations from a single dashboard, Analytics Plus is going to be the way forward. So it helps you to transfer all the data that you have on the table into information, to knowledge, to wisdom. And the next couple of slides, I'm going to give you some examples from analytics. So here is a CIO dashboard. All these dashboards are interactive dashboards, colorful, and gives deep insights into what you are looking into. Say, for example, the number of security events reported in March 2020 is 15. This particular metric can be compared with what was available the previous month, or the previous quarter, or the previous year. So assuming the number of security events in Feb 2020 was 25, whereas in March it is 15. So there is a decrease in the number of security events. It gives you an idea that you are more secure, but you still have things to work on because you have 15 security events, whereas the number of security events have gone down. So you can have, you can give a sigh of relief that the number of security events have gone down. Or say, for example, the number of SLA violations in March is 70, whereas in February it was like 120. So there's a decrease of 50 between these numbers. So you can see the quality of service has improved to your customers. So these are such certain inferences that you can get from the dashboards and reports which are generated from Analytics Plus. So Analytics Plus is an additional software which you have to install, and you have to integrate this with ServiceDesk. With just 15 minutes, all the data is going to be replicated, synchronized between these two software, and you will be able to access all the reports real time. Here is another example which talks about the asset management lifecycle, the assets that need attention, the number of assets that were not scanned for 30 days, the assets with the highest number of incidents, or the assets with unlicensed and prohibited software, unlicensed or prohibited software. So all these reports can be accessed from one single dashboard. And another example which talks about the technician KPIs, year-on-year comparison or quarter-on-quarter comparison of time spent by technicians. What is the average number of technician changes per request? Most frequent technician changes. So these kind of reports are not available in the existing ServiceDesk Plus software. Though it is possible to do, you still need a SQL statement to get these done. But if you need some interactive dashboards and interactive reports, and you want it out of the box, Analytics Plus is going to give you all these reports. So the way forward is going to be enterprise service management. All along, we have been talking only about IT, but organizations would want to move towards having a single service desk console for the entire organization. So you will have multiple teams, multiple departments in your organization providing service desk functionality. Say, for example, there's going to be a travel desk, there's going to be legal, there's going to be finance, or it could be facilities, and IT as well, and HR. So all these departments will have their own service desk, and users have to log in into specific portals for raising tickets. So you can see how difficult it is for a user to remember where to go when a particular problem has to be reported. So the challenges here are to onboard all your departments into a single service management platform, and you have to provide autonomy to each of these functions, because each of these departments will have their own technicians, will have their own categories, will have their own knowledge base, will have their own SLA, and will all have their own OLA as well, operating level agreements as well. So you want to keep track of all these functionalities across departments from a single enterprise console. That's when ServiceDesk Plus gives you the enterprise service management functionality with an unified service management platform for all departments. You can extend all the ITL practices from IT to other departments as well. So no longer problem and change management is specific only to IT. It can actually be a part of finance. It can also be a part of facilities. It can also be part of your legal or your travel desk as well. So all these can be extended. All these incident, problem, change management can be extended to other functions within your organization. So with that being said, I'm towards the end of this webinar. Thank you for giving a patient here to this webinar. In case if you have any questions and if you have to share your thoughts on this presentation, you can email me at ekhartik@zocorp.com. And for more information about the integrations, you can visit our website, servicedeskplus.com. If you are new to ServiceDesk and you want to try it out, go download it. You have a 30-day evaluation for ServiceDesk Plus. And it's time for Q&A. Let us check if there are any questions being reported. Any questions? Well, there aren't any. Yeah, there's one here. I want to ask whether analytics comes with ServiceDesk Plus. Analytics, it doesn't come with ServiceDesk Plus. Analytics is actually an additional software that you have to download from ManageEngine website. And once you download it, you will be able to integrate ServiceDesk Plus and Analytics Plus. As I already told you, you will have to give a 15-minute lead time for the data to synchronize between these two softwares, and you will get access to all the reports. Yes, they are separate licenses. ServiceDesk Plus licensing is based on number of IT technicians and assets, whereas Analytics Plus license is based on number of administrators who have to create reports. So if you have 10-member IT technicians, not all 10 will actually be responsible for generating reports. So there should be at least 2 who are responsible for generating those reports. So 2 administrator licenses for generating reports. And how many has to view these reports? So it could be your management, it could be your IT managers, it could be the department heads who have to look into these reports. So in such cases, you will have to buy the viewer license as well. So administrator licenses for generating reports and viewer licenses for viewing these reports and dashboards. Can the report of ServiceDesk Plus be customizable based on client requirement? Yes, it is possible. You can customize the report. You can see the SQL statement that we used to generate those reports, and you can customize it. But the best way to move forward is to use Analytics Plus, which gives you added functionality of drag and drop, and it can integrate with your existing databases like MySQL, MS SQL, Oracle. Say, for example, you already have a sales dashboard or a CRM dashboard, a CRM database, and you want to pull those reports into into one single dashboard, then that's possible using Analytics Plus. Any question? Well, if you haven't thought about any question right now, do write to us. The marketing team is going to share the presentation and the recording of this webinar with you guys. And it's been wonderful doing this webinar to you all. Thank you again. Take care and have a safe stay from wherever you are. Bye-bye.